Alrighty, right, so today we're going to do a couple of things. So first we're going to put all the formidable paintings in Mario 64 into a glorious tier list. We'll discuss the quality of the Mario HD re-releases, as well as reflect on the very nature of re-releases itself, and we're going to do this face reveal thingy people seem to be so curious about. Let's start by revealing some faces. So the channel surpassed 500,000 subscribers about a week ago, which is an insane number of people. Like, that's so many people. And I thought we really should do something to celebrate that. So I've been thinking about experimenting a bit with a face cam for a while now, and since we just surpassed this monumental milestone, I thought this might be a good time to finally do this face reveal thing. So without further ado, we are already on air. Oh, hello you wonderful internet stranger watching me. It is so nice to finally be able to talk to you in person. So let me start this by saying that you look absolutely amazing today. So what to tell you, I probably should share some intimate details about my life, shouldn't I? Since this is like a first date situation. I know, I mean, it's weird for both of us. So, this is like my room, you know, this is where I cut videos. My water bottle, that's where I drink water from. My Pro Controller. So my Halloween costume this year, I went as a spider, in case this isn't obvious. Oh wow, I'm so excited to share this one with you. So, that's my pen. You know, it's a sturdy pen. It serves me well. It's from IKEA, maybe. So for anyone who is thinking about buying one of those, make sure to use the code PEN10. The whole costume also had a spider drawn on this cheek. So this box contains my cat. So I would love to share my cat with you, but you know, the cat reveal, that's for 600,000 subscribers. We've got a roadmap. So sorry, no cat reveal today. I'm obviously kidding, like there's no way I'm not gonna monetize this beautiful cat. So then the background, that's my contemporary fuzzy art. You can't see that, can you? Give me a second. So this installation is called 4 Faces of Fuzzy, or in short, you know, I really like watching those fuzzies there. It kind of gets me to think about life and nature and fuzzies. Okay, honestly, I'm a bit nervous. So next thing I want to share with you is really intimate. So a couple of days ago I was talking with a couple of friends of mine and I told them that I plan to share this with you wonderful ladies and gentlemen. And they were like, oh my god, Ceave, don't! Are you crazy? That's way too intimate. But I was like, no. They have a right to know this, you know? They are watching me. You are watching me for years. You have a right to know everything about me. So, I'm really nervous. Wow. That's my shower head. That's what I use to shower. The water goes in here and then it comes out there. It has like 2 states. You know, it has a massage stream, but it also has like normal showering. I hope you appreciate this joke because there is a non-zero chance that it just destroyed my shower. Alright, so now that we've got to know each other, let's talk about some Mario games again, shall we? So are you ready? Let's do this. So there are a total of 15 stages in Mario 64 for us to take a look at. We're going to rank all the different levels using the only logical way to rate things. Yep, that's right. I'm pleased to announce that the dramatic fuzzy shortage of the late summer of 2020 finally came to an end. We are good with fuzzies again. And let me tell you, it is an amazing feeling. So we're going to rank all the paintings using our proven to work scaling method. We're going to rank them by applying 1 to 5 fuzzies. 5 fuzzies being the best score. Hooray! We're going to discuss the levels roughly in chronological order. So let's jump straight into the first stage. Let's take a look at Bob on Battlefield. 4 fuzzies. The first stars in the first stage basically only ask us to traverse and to explore the world. First we have to make our way up the mountain and to fight against King Bob-omb. Then we have to race up the mountain against Koopa the Quick. Next introduce the cannons. Then there is the red coin star that wants us to explore the entirety of the level. Basically almost all the stars here are tutorial stars, designed to get us accustomed to the controls and exploring and platforming and how the game is going to play out going forward, and all of those stars do a wonderful job at that. Hooray! Moving on to Form's Fortress. So Form's Fortress is like the perfect Mario stage if it weren't for one glaring problem. So everything here works great. The stage is fun to traverse, the forms are probably the best enemies in the game, there are several paths up to the fortress, there's even an owl that allows us to fly up there, and all the stars are fun to collect. All but one. All but the blast away the wall star. So that's one of the areas where Mario 64 really starts to show its age. Some of the puzzle stars have really obscure solutions. Let's take a look at 2 of those puzzle stars in this level. So the owl star from before basically requires us to climb to the top of this tree once in order to find the owl. There's no real indication that we have to do that beforehand. The only way to get the star is to climb this random tree at the beginning of the stage, which causes the owl to appear. And honestly, I think it's okayish. I mean, it certainly isn't how anyone would design a game nowadays, but I wouldn't call it like an objective flaw. What they do here is they first establish a problem: we cannot reach the star in the cage. But obviously there's also a solution to this problem. But this solution is hidden in an unrelated spot at a different point of the map. I mean, it's not brilliant or anything, but what it does here is basically force the player to explore every bit of interactable content in the stage so that she sooner or later stumbles over the owl. Has this the potential to frustrate players? Absolutely. But on the other hand, players are very likely to climb the tree sooner or later while exploring the stage and you know, it's 1996, it's one of the very first 3D games ever made. Creating a stage in 3D is a massive pain since the tools don't exist yet, while just moving around in 3D is a novelty for every player and an experience many probably never had before. There isn't a single 3D game they can steal ideas from, and so on, you know. I can see how having those obscure exploration puzzles like finding the owl may have sounded like a good idea when they were making this stage. However, the blast away the wall star is something different, because the blast away the wall star is so unbelievably obscure and esoteric that's not cool anymore. So there are only 2 hints on how to get the star that we have, and they both come from the name of the star. The name is blast away the wall. So we have once blast away and once the wall. Blast away indicates to use the cannon. The wall, well, it indicates to blast towards a wall. Good luck and a lot of fun. It could be every wall in the entire fortress. There is no indication that this wall is the one we're supposed to shoot ourselves to. There's just nothing. There is nothing that distinguishes this piece of wall from this piece of wall or that piece of wall or, well, any other piece of wall. The star is just a contender for the worst one in the game, since it is so esoteric. So what is our final Form's Fortress rating? Well, it's 4 amazing fuzzies. A great stage brought down a bit by a single horrible star. Cool. So Cool Mountain is next. 4 fuzzies. The stage turned out really well. We start at the top and have to make our way down, which is a cool twist for a mountain level. All the different slopes here really fit the slippery theme of a snow stage. All the stars, maybe with the exception of the building the snowman star, are fun and accessible to do. It's a really fine stage. You know, Cool Mountain turned out to be quite cool. But that's actually not what I want to talk about here. What I really want to talk about here is this snowman, or more precisely, I want to talk about what this snowman talks to us, because this snowman's talk made me really, really angry at Nintendo, because this is what he says. Have you run into any headhunters lately? So the culprit here is the into. They didn't even bother to fix the typos with this re-release. Mario 64 is just an emulated version of Mario 64 in HD. They didn't touch any other part of the game, not even the typos. What that basically means is that as little work as possible went into this Mario collection. It is really, really bare bones, and it honestly breaks my little mushroom-shaped soul. Fans have been able to do much more with the original game, like, you know, have the game run in 1080p and in 60 FPS and with a modern screen ratio and add a couple of quality of life things. But all of that is not even what annoys me the most. So the Wii U store sold an emulated version of Mario 64, and this version featured save states, as is usual with emulated N64 games. Save states basically basically mean that the game features a second separate saving mechanism that we can use whenever we feel like it, and it allows us to restore the game to the glorious state we saved it before. A couple of the later stars in Mario 64 didn't age that gracefully, and being able to set down a save state before attempting those is something that really can cut down a lot of frustration for people who play the game for the first time. So the lack of save states makes Mario 64 HD, at least in some areas, actually worse than the emulated version that was sold on the Wii U. They just put in the least amount of work possible. We will come back to talk about this towards the end of this little video, but for now, let's move on to the Jolly Roger Bay. So Jolly Roger is the famous pirate flag, you know, the black flag with the skull and the crossing bones below them. That's a Jolly Roger. And Jolly Roger Bay is a really fitting name for the stage if you were to ask me. Which were like all the good things that I have to say about the Jolly Roger Bay, because may the Fuzzy Kings forgive me for the pun, but otherwise the stage is a bit of a shipwreck. So here's a list of all the things wrong with the Jolly Roger Bay. Swimming is slow and boring. The treasure chests are a stupid brute force minigame. Climbing on the post doesn't work. I have no idea how to grab the shell. There are way too little coins for the 100 coin star. I've beaten the game like 20 times by now and I still have no idea what triggers the eel to leave the entrance to the ship. They like the silly treasure chest minigame so much that they decided to repeat it twice, and finally swimming just isn't that much fun as running around as Mario is. My dearest Jolly Roger Bay, that's just a single lonely fuzzy for you. Next. Lethal Lava Land. Alright, so as I see it, the Lethal Lava Land has two burning flaws in an otherwise hot level. So let's talk about the good stuff first. The platforming and exploration here is really fun. The different parts of the stage are linked with creative and interesting platforming obstacles. I particularly like the twist on the damage pit that the lava provides. Like, missing a jump here isn't lethal, but it sends Mario into this wild and funny I burned my booty run. So landing in fire feels really dangerous and leads to unpredictable outcomes, while it's not too frustrating, while it also possibly makes us smile when it happens for the first time. This fire damage design is actually so strong that it is still used in Odyssey, a game released 2 decades later. Mario 64 really got a shocking amount of things right in its first attempt, but sadly not everything. So the two problems of Lethal Lava Land. The volcano. The platforming inside the volcano just doesn't work. Mario has a huge turning radius in 64. If we run into one direction and want to turn around, then Mario runs in this huge arch. This has the positive effect of adding a lot of weight to Mario's movement when running around in wide and open fields, but it also has the negative effect of meaning that we unwillingly commit suicide as soon as we try to turn on a small platform. Poor Mario. There he goes again. The volcano wants us to platform on top of really tiny platforms, which is the first strike against the Lethal Lava Land. The second strike is the 100 coin star. So the 100 coin stars. In some stages, those stars are among the most enjoyable, and in others they are the worst. So what is the 100 coin star problem of Lethal Lava Land? Well, it's simply that we aren't able to collect 100 coins in a stage without entering the volcano. But as soon as we are inside the volcano, there is no way out of it again. So if we happen to collect a good bunch of coins outside this very hot mountain and then jump into it, well, then we can end up in a situation where we can't collect 100 coins anymore. To make matters even worse, we only find out that there aren't enough coins down there after exploring all of the volcano. You know, not good. But there is actually a second problem with the 100 coin star here, and with the 100 coin stars in general. They often require us to do all the stars of the level again. If we're going for 100 coins in Lethal Lava Land as an example, then we are very likely to do the following. We grab the coins on the first bullet platform, we grab them on the second bullet platform, we grab all the red coins, cruise over the exceptionally hot liquid on our friend and savior the Cooper shell, and make our way almost to the top of the volcano. That's almost all the content of the stage. So in a worst case scenario, we basically do all the stars of the stage again, only to find ourselves in the middle of the volcano without a way to get to 100 coins because we missed too many coins in the upper part of the level. Not hooray. So what is our final verdict for the Hot Lethal Lava Land? Well, it's free fuzzies. There's honestly a lot to like about the stage, but the volcano sadly drags it down. Let's move on to the Hazy Maze Cave. Okay, look, the thing is the following. On paper, I'm a huge Hazy Maze Cave fan. It's this maze and it's toxic and there are those mysterious creatures down there and everything is so confusing and so adventurous. It's so cool. I have vivid memories of playing the stage back in the 1950s when I was a 6-year-old boy. I stumbled around the confusing corridors. I dodged dangerous, rolling boulders. I made it through toxic mist and suddenly, I found myself deep down in the darkest depths of the stage, in front of this tremendously scary sea monster that guards this forgotten underground lake. That's actually no joke, by the way. My mom had to be in the same room as I was when I was approaching Nessie for the first time. You know? Just in case.
But I did it. I overcame my fear, and I was delighted to find out that this dangerous looking creature turned out to be a quite helpful and friendly fellow. The Hazy Maze Cave is a fantastic level. It's such a wonderful and joyful place.
2 fuzzies. So look, here's the thing. I love the Hazy Maze Cave. I really, really do. But the stage features this one star that is just so offensively bad. It's once again the 100 coin star. Collecting the 100 coin star in the Hazy Maze Cave is an exercise in pain and misery for the most stupid of reasons.
Here's our wrongdoer. It's this dumb blue switch. So for everyone who hasn't played the game in a while, there are blue switches in the game which, when forcefully booty pushed into the floor, spawn a bunch of blue coins. A blue coin is worth 5 normal coins and they are on a timer. They disappear after, I don't know, like after 8 seconds or something. They disappear and so does the switch. The only way to get another shot at collecting the coins is by resetting the whole stage. So here's the kicker. Those blue coins are almost always required in order to reach a total of 100 coins. So if we miss them, we lock ourselves out of collecting 100 coins in a level. It's the volcano all over again. But this time, actually worse. The blue switch in the Hazy Maze Cave is set up in such a way that it is very, very, very likely that we end up not finding the coins the first couple of times we hit it. You know, the coins spawn literally in a maze. If we do not find them, however, well, then we just locked ourselves out of the 100 coin star without even knowing it. Those blue coin switches are fun in theory, but they can lead to some of the most frustrating moments I've ever experienced in any game. It's really a shame because the solution to this problem would be so easy. The switches simply need to respawn and to give us another shot at collecting the blue coins. The whole problem would vaporize, but they do not. So sorry, Hazy Maze Cave. I know the blue switches aren't your fault, but sadly you suffer tremendously for them. That's only 2 fantastic fuzzies instead of 4.
Also, if you're feeling as if I'm especially nitpicky today, like, you know, picking on all the fantastic Mario stages, robbing them of all the wonderful fuzzies they rightfully deserve, please stay with me, because all those nitpicks are actually going somewhere today. And I hope that that somewhere isn't nowhere.
Big Boo's Haunt is next. 4 fuzzies. Honestly, there isn't that much to say about the stage, it's simply a really well executed ghost house. They went for a haunted mansion here and they nailed it. There are several rooms, they're connected in great ways. Failing a jump leads to the surprise of a carousel hidden in the basement. There is a secret attic, it is great. Great done, well job, Big Boo's Haunt. Those are 4 fuzzies, well deserved. Which leads us to the Shifting Sandland.
I have conflicting feelings about the Shifting Sandland.
Okay, so here's the deal. The Shifting Sandland is great. It is fun to explore, the flying cap is put to good use here, platforming in the pyramid isn't perfect, but works far better than inside the volcano. Those rotating foam-like creatures are a lot of fun to dodge. The pyramid features the best boss fight in the game. It is great. So what is the problem? Well, I can tell you what the problem is. The problem is the Pyramid Puzzle Star. The Pyramid Puzzle Star is the worst star in the game. It is so bad. I hate this star with such a burning passion. So I'm really excited to announce that I actually managed to get my hands onto a real faked pitch that the Mario 64 team did not use when designing this star. So let me read it to you.
So in this made-up design document, it says Stage 8, Star 7, Design Draft, Shifting Sandlands, Pyramid Puzzle.
Mario climbs to the same spot he just had reached for the previous star. There, he notices a lonely coin on a small platform. Following his curiosity and his greed, Mario decides to wrongfully steal it.
Yeah, I know, I also never thought the design documents are written like this, but honestly, what do I know? So,
But what is this? A one appears over Mario's head, indicating that something good happens if he collects more of those mysterious coins. There are a total of 5 coins. 2 of the 4 missing coins are in totally reasonable positions. The other 2 coins aren't visible by any camera angle that the player might naturally want to use. Actually, let's put them on tiny platforms in the middle of the pyramid where no one ever is able to find them. Also, let's build no path towards them. Just 2 random floating platforms, tiny, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that sounds great. The only way to reach them is by leap of faithing down from the platform where Mario just stood. Twice. No way to see the coins when jumping, no way to see where we land. If the player fails, well then the player has to redo the star they just did before again and again and again.
Yeah, and then it goes on to say how much the creator loves this idea and that he's sure his boss is going to love it as well and that he fully expects to get promoted because of this brilliant idea and that his next project will be the creative director of Paper Mario Sticker Star. Yeah. That's how this went.
That's only 3 fuzzies for the Shifting Sandland. Shifting Sandland that could have been way more fuzzies for you, but the pyramid puzzle is just unexcusably stupid. Next, Dire Dire Dogs. That's only one lonely fuzzy without companions. Dire Dire Dogs is the second swimming stage in the game. It not only suffers from the exact same problems as Jolly Roger Bay does, it even features more. So first, Mario 64 has problems with the draw distance of coins. Sometimes our plumber just has to get really close to coins for them to become visible. So usually Mario 64 is really good at designing around this problem, but Dire Dire Dogs is one of the stages where they mess this up a bit. Those coins, for example, are really hard to find if we do not know that they are here, which can lead to a really frustrating experience. The second problem, where the game really shows its age, Dire Dire Dogs, is in the visual design of this entrance. So this entrance here simply looks like an entrance to an area at first glance. Like the game wants us to jump into the fire-spitting volcano, obviously it also wants us to swim through this entrance. Except that swimming through this exit means that we super die. So what do I mean by super dying? Well, we do not simply get booted out of the stage, lose a life and are able to start again, but we get teleported into this water puddle outside of the castle area and are forced to run all the way back to the stage if we want to continue. So honestly, I kind of like that the game teleports us into this puddle here. It is an attempt to make the whole castle feel more like an interconnected space, and while it is silly, I kind of think it's still worth it. The problem is that this opening doesn't convey danger by any means in its visual design. Like, it is obvious that this whirl is going to pull Mario towards it and that it is dangerous, but this hole here also features a pull force, also is dangerous, yet there is nothing in its design that indicates danger. Combine this with the fact that there are coins really close that are really hard to notice, since they only load in once we're close to the dangerous hole, and with a recipe for a small water puddling 100 coin star disaster. So yeah, Dire Dire Dogs isn't the highlight of Mario 64 in my probably faulty opinion. Awesome, so Snowman's Land is the next stage. 3 fuzzies. Honestly, there isn't much to say about this painting. It's mundanely fine, it does nothing extraordinary, but there is also nothing really bad about it. It's a fine 3 fuzzy stage. Good snowman. So the Tall Tall Mountain is a stage I personally really like. There are many different paths up the mountain and the different ways all feel really great to traverse, so climbing upwards is always a good time. Catching the monkey is a bit silly, but in a good way. Sliding down the slide is always fun. Let's go with 4 brilliant fuzzies here. Hooray. Also, for anyone wondering why one of the fuzzies is pink, I honestly have no idea either. Like, I ordered a bunch of perfectly black fuzzies, but somehow they must have had a small mishap between orders or something, and the pink one slipped into my order. So like, usually I would totally write them a mail and complain about this, but honestly, isn't the fuzzy beautiful? Anyway, the Wet Dry World. What an amazing level. Nintendo really exploded with creativity when designing the different stages in Mario 64. There is a mountain that we have to ascend, a frozen mountain we have to descend, an open battleground, a castle atop a hill, a confusing cave, a sunken town, a haunted mansion, a gigantic snowman in an open field, a sunken ship at the bottom of a trench. Heck, there is even a clock that operates at different speeds. All of those stages are not only different in their theming, but also in their structure. Wet Dry World is built in a completely unique way compared to Big Boo's Haunt or TikTok Clock or Tiny Huge Island or whatever. The team really exploded with ideas for Mario 64, and Wet Dry World is one of those stages that really shows this. Not only is the theme of a sunken city really unique, nor is the water height switching mechanic brilliant, but also the simple way of how we enter this stage changes how we play it. The team even went out of their way to give many of the stages unique and interesting ways to enter them. Dire Dire Dogs first blocks the entrance to the boss. Snowman's Land is hidden and only visible via the mirror. Tiny Huge Island has 2 different entrances. TikTok Clock's clock speed changes according to the time we enter it. The Sandland is completely hidden at first, and Wet Dry World has different water levels depending on where we enter it. That's just so creative. The different levels in Mario 64 don't follow a blueprint. They're all completely unique. They all feature unique traits and surprises. That's one of the many reasons why I love Mario 64 so much until this day. Exploring the game game for the first time was so rewarding. Everything could happen in every stage. There was no established formula. There was just a ton of creativity and dozens over dozens of different and new ideas. Did all of those ideas work out? Well, no, obviously. But sometimes it is better to explore a concept that did not work out over repeating the same old proven to work motions over and over again. Which is why our final score for the Tiny Huge Island is 3 fantastic fuzzies. And yes, we're nesting the rating of Tiny Huge Island inside the rating of the Wet Dry World today. What do you want to do against it? Call the YouTube police? Tiny Huge Island is a stage where Nintendo really explored a unique concept. Once the stage is tiny and once Mario is. That's a concept that worked really well in 2D, but sadly did not translate that great to 3 dimensions. The huge part of the stage is just like a more boring version of Bob-omb's Battlefield, while the tiny version is a nightmare to control where Mario tends to fall to his doom after making just the slightest mistake. That being said, I'm still glad that Nintendo took the risk to explore this concept, which brings us back to Wet Dry World, because Wet Dry World is an experiment that really paid off. 4 fuzzies. The level is just so unique and interesting. It's the only swimming heavy stage in Mario 64 that really works, in my humble opinion. Awesome. So only 2 stages left to rate for us. And then it's finally time to find out which part of Super Mario 64 is the best one and which one is the absolute worst. So let's rate Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Road at once, since both have very similar problems. So first, the 100 coin stars in both stages are brutally difficult. Those 2 stages make normal traversal challenging as the final challenge in the game, which also means that collecting 100 coins in either of them, well, it's unreasonably difficult. The 100 coin star basically asks us to repeat all the other 6 stars in the stage again, but this time without any mistake in between. Second, they both suffer from the "that's too small of a platform for a turn radius" syndrome that already infected the volcano before. Finally, there is the biggest problem. So, look, as much as I love the camera carrying Lakitu in Mario 64, he just isn't up for the task in those stages. Especially Tick-Tock Clock has a couple of jumps where it is impossible to get the camera to actually show the current scene. So what is our final verdict for the final 2 stages? Well, it's 2 fantastic fuzzies each. Tick-Tock Clock suffers a bit more because of the horrible camera, but is overall the more interesting concept. Rainbow Ride is okay-ish, but the really slow platform rides often bring the gameplay to a brutal halt. Awesome. So here we have it, all the amazing Super Mario 64 stages sorted in an amazing tier list. Hooray! So as most of you wonderful ladies and gentlemen probably noticed by now, we haven't handed out a perfect 5 fuzzy score today. So here's the thing. Super Mario 64 is an amazing game. It's a joy to play through it. Mario controls fantastic. The game explodes with creativity and ideas. There are tons of thrilling secrets to find and dangerous and objectively scary sea monsters to befriend. The game is one of the most beautiful games ever made, if you were to ask me. But, and sadly that's a huge but, there are certain parts of the game that just don't quite hold up today. It's mostly tiny problems. Tiny nitpicky problems like the ones we just spent most of the video discussing. The reason we talked so in depth about tiny things like the blue coin switch in Hazy Maze Cave, or the problems of the 100 coin star in Leaf Lava Land, or, you know, this hole. That's because so many of the problems of the game are so ridiculously simple to fix, and at least in my opinion, fixing those tiny spots is all that Mario 64 really needs in order to hold up today. So here are a couple of tiny improvements that could be done as a Mario 64 anti-aging cure. Increase the draw distance of coins. Put down 4 of 5 coin clusters in the overworld of Leaf Lava Land, in Jolly Roger Bay, at the bottom of Tick-Tock Clock, in Tall Tall Mountain, and at the beginning of the Rainbow Ride. Fix the Snowball Race in Cool Cool Mountain. Delete the Puzzle Pyramid star entirely and have the game only have 119 stars total. Or relocate the 2 coins to a more reasonable location. Make blue switches respawn after the timer expires, and while we're at it, maybe increase a couple of platforms a bit in size so that it is harder to fall off by accident. Change the visual design of a couple of small things, like let's have cracks at this wall as an indication that it can be destroyed, and maybe put something here that symbolizes danger. Since we're already here, let's fix the typos in the English translation, but let's keep the backwards long jump in, because one of those mistakes is a beloved glitch that led to many people enjoy the game actually more, while the other one is actually embarrassing, and suddenly we have a version of Mario 64 that is still undoubtedly the original game, but simply fixed a couple of the most glaring problems of the original in order to stay enjoyable for people who never played Mario 64 before. That's honestly what what I was hoping that Nintendo had in store for the classic Mario games. The same treatment that the Zelda games got. Like Wind Waker HD is still Wind Waker, but they fixed the biggest problem of the game when they re-released it. They did the same with Ocarina of Time and with Twilight Princess, and I love that Nintendo was doing that. Fixed the biggest flaws of the original game and turned what previously was an aging game into a timeless classic. But for some reason the Mario games got loveless ports of ROMs that even lose the save state feature. The reason why we did not go with a perfect score for any of the stages in Mario 64 today is because not a single one of them is perfect in the context of a 2020 HD re-release. Each and every stage needs a couple of tiny, unintrusive changes to be really perfect. Nintendo really missed a huge chance to do their most important franchise justice on its 35th birthday. They put in the least amount of work possible, and therefore there really isn't any reason to play Mario 64 HD or the emulated version on the Wii U. So with that being said, let's finally find out which Super Mario 64 stage is objectively my subjective favorite.
Fits perfectly. In case you can't tell, I don't have an iron. So, this ominous envelope. This ominous envelope contains the answer. This ominous envelope knows which Mario 64 stage is objectively my subjective favorite. I can feel the tension in the air. And the best stage in Super Mario 64 out of the 15 different stages is I can barely read it. That's because there's nothing written on it. It's just for a joke. It's for a dramatic effect. The best stage is Cool Cool Mountain. Cool Mountain. Congratulations. You're officially my favorite.
I really think this stage is the one that turned out to be the best in a set of already really strong stages. The slide in the middle, saving the little penguin, exploring for the 8 red coins. Cool Mountain just ended up being a really great place. Congratulations, Cool Mountain, you're officially my favorite. Which leads us to the worst part of Super Mario 64.
I really should buy an iron, you know? Alright, so this envelope knows the answer. This envelope knows which part of Super Mario 64 is officially the worst one. I can feel the tension in the air. And the worst part of Super Mario 64, in my opinion, turned out to be... Oh wow. That's surprising. I didn't expect this to happen. This time there is actually something written on the paper, and it says predatory business practices. Wow, what a surprise! I didn't see that one coming. So congratulations, predatory business practices. You're officially the worst part of the Mario 64 HD re-release. Okay, in case this isn't obvious by now, there's another thing we have to chat about.
Okay, so as I see it, the thing with the HD collection is the following. The games are really good, and even $60 for loveless ports of those games is still really good value if you never played one of those games before. You know, the games are great, the port is bad. And honestly, usually I would let the quality of the port slip and just discuss the original games, because in my opinion that's just much more interesting. But, and that's a huge but again, the way Nintendo is selling those lackluster ports is the thing that actually really makes me angry. So it all boils down to the question, how much is an old game worth? Like, how much do people perceive a re-release of Mario 64 or of Mario Sunshine or of Galaxy to be worth? And the answer seems to be not that much, since Nintendo decided to only charge 10 money for the straight up port of Mario 64 on the Wii and the Wii U. The problem is, the longer those games are accessible, the less people perceive them to be worth. So selling your old games on every console means that they lose value with every re-release. If you're a company like Nintendo, then that really sucks, because those old games are great. They are like free money printing machines. You know, you put absolutely no work into them and then they spit out money like crazy. Companies love that. Honestly, I would love that. But sadly, that doesn't work forever, because the games lose value the longer they are available, until they start to only print an abysmal small amount of money every year for free. How disgusting. So what do we do to get our old games to print a lot of money again? Well, what they usually end up doing is they remaster the game. They put in a bit of work, fix some of the game's issues, improve the graphics and do the work necessary so that the game is fresh enough that people are willing to pay full price for it again. And then they can take those remasters and re-release the re-release on every console going forward, which is sooner or later going to happen with the Twilight Princess HD release and the Wind Waker re-release and so on. And honestly, I'm on board with that. As long as they are willing to put in the work necessary to truly improve the remasters, please go ahead and send me games that I already own.
I'll happily buy them all.
The problem is that Nintendo didn't want to put the work into the ports this time, but they also did not want their free huge old Mario titles to lose any monetary value in the long run. What they want to do is to print money off of those games indefinitely without ever spending a single money on them again. And sadly, they found a way to do that. They decided to only release the games for a couple of months. At the 1st of April, and no, that's no April Fool's joke, at the 1st of April, the HD game collection will no longer be available. Stores aren't going to get new copies, even if people still want to buy them, and they will even make it impossible to purchase the collection online in their store. The game is going to disappear. The reason they pull a Houdini on their own game is so that those old games keep their value. You know, instead of releasing an actually updated product in order to increase its value, they decided to just have the game disappear after only a couple of months in stores. They want us to perceive it as valuable to be allowed to buy the games instead of making an actual valuable product. They arbitrarily limit our options to buy the thing instead of improving the thing.
The reason I'm so pissed about this is because this way of re-releasing old games actually incentivizes Nintendo to do horrible ports. Like, why put in a lot of money if the game is going to vanish in a couple of weeks? Why improve the game if the way they're trying to sell it isn't by its value as a product, but by abusing fear of missing out and nostalgia? The reason so little work went into those ports is because Nintendo always planned that they disappear afterwards. Additionally, the timed releases actually pressure people into buying the games. Like, what if I don't feel like currently playing the Mario collection, but I know that, you know, half a year from now I probably would want to play those games? Well, then I have to buy the games now, even if I do not plan to play the games, because when I actually want to play the game, well, then I can't buy it. They're pressuring people into buying the game that may not have bought it otherwise. They're abusing deep human instincts, like humans' natural fear of missing out, to sell their Mario games instead of making great Mario games people actually would want to buy.
Theoretically, it could also be that the collection disappears in April and that Nintendo starts to sell the free games as standalone titles. If that were the case, that would be its own little rabbit hole of questionable business practices. But honestly, I doubt that that's the plan, especially since the localized Famicom, Fire Emblem, is also only going to be available for a limited time. It really looks like this is their policy with old games going forward. And I cannot tell you how much I hate that.
Limited releases are like the worst way to sell old games. They incentivize Nintendo to put in as little work as they somehow can get away with. They are horrible for consumers since they force them to buy the games at times when they actually might not want to play the game. They abuse deep human instincts to pressure people into buying something instead of incentivizing producing a great product. They are horrible, I hate them, and it honestly makes me really angry that they're abusing the 35th birthday of my boy Mario as a test balloon for this horrible practice. It's an evil, dark, capitalistic corporation move. And it reminds me of the worst days of Nintendo. Days I honestly thought we had behind us. Okay, so why do we have imaginary party horns today? The thing is the following, I actually went out and bought like all the stuff for this video, but I forgot the party horns. And I was like, okay, no big deal, I just grabbed them the day I actually shoot this video. So what I didn't know was that in the meantime my country went into its second corona lockdown, like the country is closed and they're really stressing to only go out if it's really important, like only go out to buy stuff that's like matter of life or death important. So I had a long discussion with myself about how important the party horns actually are. And I came to the conclusion they are not that important, so it's imaginary party horns today. We're not going to end this video with imaginary party horns, are we?
That being said, Mario 64 is still Mario 64, it is still a ton of fun. While the HD collection is really loveless, Mario 64 on its own really is not. Neither Sunshine nor Galaxy. They're 3 great and important games and a ton of fun to experience even years after the original release. But the collection didn't quite turn out to be the birthday present for Mario that I had hoped for. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to leave me one of those thumbs, preferably upside down, and maybe you feel especially wondering which level I actually believe to be the worst one and are so relieved to find out that it is Dire Dogs that you especially want to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!